Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And another Valentine card for my Valentine card series. I used some of the new Trinity stamps products. I haven't done a release and review yet. Life's been a little bit nuts. And a lot of this release has already sold out. It will be restocked. But I will post a link to the Trinity stamps line in the description below, like I tend to do, so you guys can check it out, because there's a bunch of new bling and stamps and all the things. But I could not resist getting a card made using one of the new Gnome sets, because if you're not familiar, Trinity Stamps has just some of the cutest little gnome images. So I ended up making a square card, which I haven't done in a very long time. I also used a ridiculous amount of dimension, which I also don't do very often. And yeah, Copic coloring, splatter, stencil layering, ink blending, so many things. I had a lot of fun making this. So links to all the things I used, as well as a link to that release, will be in the description box below. And then keep watching, and I will show you guys how I made this card. So the stamp set is called the My One and Gnomely stamp set. I like puns, man. There's something about them. So I took two of the images from the set, and I am stamping them onto just a scrap of Simon Says Stamps smooth white cardstock, and I'm using Intense Black ink, just an alcohol marker friendly ink. And did I ink these up twice, or did I even need to? No, didn't. Shocker. Anywho, coloring, very, very simple. I've sped this up considerably in editing, but these still didn't take that long to color. I used my Copic markers. The Spectrum Noir tri-blends would work. Olo markers. Heck, I even considered stamping them onto watercolor paper, and watercoloring them would have been really cute as well. But Copic's won out. So I colored, as is tradition with me, if it's any sort of person, gnome, whatever, I always do the skin first, then the hair. It's just a habit after all these years. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. But started with that and did warm grays for his beard, browns for her hair, and then purple. Because why not? So I did their little hats with purples, and I've mentioned this in a million videos. I go darkest to lightest when I am coloring with alcohol markers. Doesn't matter the brand. And that's just habit. I still recommend, if you're a brand new baby beginner with alcohol markers, lightest to darkest, it gives you more control, and it's easier to add in darker shades than it is to try and lighten them, soften them, etc. And then once you get, more comfortable with it, do whatever works for you. So for me, darkest to lightest, it's just faster, so I don't have to go back and forth with the blending. That's it. That's the only reason. So I did purples, pulled in some kind of aqua blue shades, and then neutral grays for their feet. And then I'm going to use some pink shades for the little heart balloon and the little heart banner that she is holding. And there's a whole bunch of little sentiments in that set for stamping on these little, the balloons or the banners. And I decided I was originally going to just stamp them with black ink, with everything else. But then I was like, ooh, since Copics do dry very quickly, I can heat emboss the sentiments. So that's what I'm going to do. So waited till everything was dry, which doesn't take very long at all. Used my anti-static powder tool, chose a couple of the little sentiments from the set, and I just stuck these onto an acrylic block. And then anti-static powder tool, like I said, inked up the little sentiments with clear embossing ink, and then just stamped them into place. And then I'm going to coat these with some detail white embossing powder, tap off that excess, and then melt that with my heat tool. So got everything ready to go, made sure there wasn't any stray bits of embossing powder. That's what the anti-static powder was for, to keep it from clinging to anything other than the little stamp sentiments. Melted that with my heat tool. And then I use the coordinating wafer dies to die cut these out. So I'm going to tape these wafer dies into place to keep everything from shifting. And you totally can cut into, like I use, and I have been using now for many months, an Griffin EMPRESS machine. And I know a lot of people cut into their magnetic mat if it works for them. I don't know. I don't like doing that. I don't know. I just don't. Don't try teaching me new tricks. I'm going to keep using my washi tape. I can't. There's no reason. Either way works. Anywho, I cut the sentiments. And then I took a square of white cardstock, same white cardstock. And I'm using some heart stencils that are layering shape. So I'm going to use multiple stencils. And I'm going to use Simon's Positively Saturated Inks, one of my fave combos, but really I will say this about any combo I'm using at the time because it depends on my mood. It's like, this is my favorite. But it's Seafoam, Surf, and Ocean, starting with the lightest. And I'm using one of the Trinity Stamps Blending Buddy ink brushes. This is the first time I've actually used one of these brushes. I have an entire set of them with their little rainbow clips that are separate. I'll have links to those. I've had the brushes and the clips and everything for a really long time. Months and months and months. I forget how long I've had them. And I've just had them on display because they're really cute. Honestly, they blend. Oh, this blends so... It was a very nice experience blending this ink. So then I was legit, and I'm saying this because I was kicking myself as I was doing this. I was like, why did you not pull these out sooner? These brushes are amazing. If you have blending brushes, do you need these? No, it's just if you're, don't have any blending brushes, check into these. They're very nice. I need to make a point of using them now because I can't, they're so soft. It's insane. I mentioned that like when I kind of did a little like unboxing of them in one of the release and review videos, just how incredibly soft they are. Like I have a couple extras of these brushes, and if I decide to get back into wearing makeup again, I might actually steal one to use as a foundation brush. They're that nice. Anyway, total just random thoughts. Welcome to my brain. Worked lightest to darkest there. And I used my little grip mat just to hold the cardstock and the stencils in place. And then, of course, splatter. For my splatter, so I put the background into my splat box, and then for my splatter, I'm using some Picket Fence liquid white snowflake. I'm pretty sure I've used this in some other videos. It's very similar looking to when I do Perfect Pearl powder mixed with a bit of water, just that pretty shimmer. And this stuff is just, it's beautiful. It's subtle but shimmery. You guys know. Splatter's the best. So I shook it up really well. That's my only thing with the liquid ones like this is just make sure you actually shake them up, because I'm bad about that. And then I don't get the results I want. And it's like, because you didn't shake it up well enough. Like, duh. So shook it up, put a few drops onto my palette. I used my little fan brush, splattered that onto the background, set it aside to dry. While it was drying, I used the Trinity Stamps Simply Sentimental Hugs die set. And I die cut this very fine sentiment. There's several different fonts, which is what, Trinity does with sets like this. And I chose this one, which is another one that normally I would kind of avoid because it's like, oh, this is a little finicky, Again, I need to make myself just stop overthinking things because this came together really easily. I'm using craft tacky glue in a little fine tip bottle. That is key for me anyway, I find, because it, again, gives me a little bit of wiggle room, to adjust and layer. You don't need to stack these. Honestly, you could just die cut one and stick it to the outline. It would look great. But you guys know, dimension is life. So I had die cut just some scraps of purple cardstock, and then the top layer was some purple glitter cardstock. Stacked them together with that craft tacky glue. And then the outline I had die cut from black cardstock, and it's just perfect. I love it. It's so cute. And then another, resurgence of an oldie but goodie favorite of mine that a lot of you guys know. This is was an obsession. I love it. I have a backup pack of this. It's just the MFT black and white stripes pattern paper. And it's like a 6x6 pack, and it's got straight and diagonal black and white stripes. That's it. Love this stuff. Used it in more videos than I can count. So I pulled it out again for this. Just cut a strip of it. Cut it on a bit of an angle. Adhered it to my background. I ended up trimming that background down a little bit. I think right now it's like 4 3/4 square, something like that. And then this pink like twine, I do not have a link for this. I have had this stuff, no word of a lie, probably close to 20 years. Something like that. It stays in my little ribbon drawer. Got a couple different shades of pink, and yeah, I've had it for longer than I can remember, really. So it was just the right shade of pink though. So I wrapped that around the background and then using my reverse tweezers to hold the knot in place. So I have time to adjust my little bow here. So got that figured out, and then you remove the tweezers, tighten everything up. We're good to go. Trim off the tails, and then I've got my little bow on here. And then I'd also trim down some lavender cardstock to just slightly bigger than that panel, and I'm going to adhere those together with the craft tacky glue. And yeah, like I said, I'm making a square card. I don't make square cards very often. I love the look of them. There's something about the square shape. It's just, I love the look of them. I just don't often have envelopes for them, and I'm too lazy to make my own envelopes. That's basically the only reason I don't do square cards. It's another thing that I should do more of, because I really do like the look of them versus like the rectangle shape of a, A2, slimline, etc., etc. So anyway, I adhered my little characters with some thin foam squares onto that background. And then the Hugs Sentiment, I just took some black Waffle Flower foam strips and stuck it along just the very bottom of this die cut so that I can kind of stick it over top of, there's that twine, and then the little characters are a little bit bumped up. So this enables it to give it extra dimension, because I use the thicker foam strips for this. So this is really quite a bit popped up, and so it's floating there basically. So pop that into place right over the bottom of those little characters. Zhuzhed my bow a little bit more. And then my card base is going to be a 5.5 inch square card. So my cardstock was cut to 5.5 by 11 inches, scoring it at 5.5 with my Teflon bone folder, reinforcing that fold because this is heavyweight white cardstock. It's the same cardstock I stamped and colored on and did the stenciling on. And then at this point I decided, because I wasn't 100% certain, in the back of my mind I was like, these guys need glitter. So I took my Aqua Shimmer pen, my Nouveau Aqua Shimmer pen, which again, another all-time favorite, love. Doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but at the end I will use my flashlight and show you guys the sparkle. So I stuck that onto their hats, and again set that aside to dry. It doesn't take very long, but it needs to be dry before I add any like white gel pen accents, which I'll do in a minute. So while that was drying, I put my card base into my MISTI, and I'm stamping this image from that same My One in Gnomely stamp set with, I use lilac ink for that. So I stamped that, and I also stamped and heat embossed one of the sentiments from that set, and then I just used the coordinating wafer die to die cut that. So then I stuck that onto the inside of the card. And then to adhere the card front, I am using some Altenew foam tape. I've had so many people ask me about this foam tape. Finally got my hands on it. It's great. It's like, I would call this like your standard foam tape. Like in terms of thickness, it's thicker than the Big Mama foam tape that I use all the time. But it's nice. Like the backing comes off really nice. Like it's good. It's great. No regrets here. When I want more dimension, this is the stuff I'll use. It's wonderful. So pop that into place with foam tape. Like I said, in the intro, like dimension, so much dimension. Love it. So now the Aqua Shimmer is obviously dry, so I can go over that with my white gel pen, because if you want to add things like shimmer or glossy accents or anything to whatever it is you're doing, and you also plan on using a white gel pen, you want to do the shimmer, the glossy accents, all those things first, let them completely dry, and then go over it with the white gel pen. Because if you do the white gel pen first and then add the shimmer, the glossy accents, etc., they will dissolve the white gel pen, because it's just how it works. So I added my little white gel pen highlights. And then my final little bit of embellishment is these Trinity stamps. They're called Concord Grape Bubbles. Oh, There's so many colors, you guys, and they look like they're glowing. I love them. Love them. So I added a few of those, adhered them into place with little dabs of craft tacky glue, and that finished off the card. So I've got, like I said, shimmer and glitter and dimension and all the things. This was really fun to make, and I will have links to all of the things in the description box below the video. So if you just expand the description box, there'll be a link to my blog post in the blog post. If you click on over to there, I've got the photos, picture, links to everything. You know, it's a little easier to navigate. But yeah, it'll all be listed below for anyone that is interested. Thank you all so very much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.